Welcome to the answers for the assignment for Unit 12, questions 16 to 18, exercises 8 and 9. Question 16. When there is a net income, to which columns on the worksheet is the amount of the net income added? The net income is added to the debit column of the income statement section and the credit column of the balance sheet section. List the 7 steps in preparing an 8-column worksheet. Number 1, write the heading on the worksheet. Number 2, write the trial balance on the worksheet. Number 3, gather the data needed to prepare the adjustments. Number 4, prepare the adjustments in the total, balance, and rule the adjustment columns. Transfer all amounts to either the income statement or the balance sheet columns. Total the income statement and balance sheet columns and determine the net income or net loss. And then finally, balance and rule the entire worksheet. Number 18. How is the book value of a fixed asset determined? And give an example. We determine the book value by subtracting the accumulated depreciation of any fixed asset from the original cost of the asset, which we know never changes on the accounting records. An example might be an automobile that was purchased for $20,000. So the asset automobile is always going to be $20,000. So far in its lifetime it has accumulated depreciation of $4,000. That means that there is a book value of $20,000 minus $4,000, which equals $16,000. There is $16,000 worth of depreciation available for future years. Now we go to the exercises. Exercise 8 asks you to prepare a 10-column worksheet for healthcare consultants using the trial balance and additional information that's given in the textbook. The fiscal period, or the accounting period, is 1 year. There you can see that we have supplies on hand valued at $700. 3-year insurance policy was purchased on January 1st for $2,400. And the declining balance method of depreciation is used to record depreciation for office equipment at 20% per year and the automobiles for 30% per year. So here is the worksheet that we have for exercise 8. This is what it's going to look like when it's completed. We'll now take a look at each of the individual columns. The first thing that we need to do is we need to write down all the trial balance information from the trial balance in the textbook. So the first 2 columns contain all the accounts on the trial balance. We total that up, and you can see at the bottom, and I'll circle it here, we have the totals for the debit and the credit column, $189,000. The next step is to do the adjustments. We calculate the supplies expense, the insurance expense, the depreciation on the equipment, and the depreciation on the automobiles. These expense amounts are listed 1, 2, 3, 4. Now their corresponding asset accounts for the supplies, it's up here. For the insurance, right here. The accumulated depreciation right here, and that was for the equipment, and accumulated depreciation for the automobile is right here. Notice that the calculation for the insurance is $800. The supplies is $1,300. The depreciation expense for the office equipment is $1,448. And for the automobiles, $7,872. The next step is to calculate the adjusted trial balance. So what we do is we take the trial balance information, and if there are any changes to it, we consider those changes and then calculate what the new amount is. Let's take a look at the first few. We can see here that the first account is cash, and there's been no changes, so that is $4,500. The next account, no change, that remains $17,000. However, for the first account, which is supplies, we started with 2,000 right here. Then we see here, now notice that this was a debit. Now we have a credit under the adjustments of $1,300. So what does that mean? It means that right here on the adjusted trial balance, we have a new value, not 2,000. It's now 2,000 minus 1,300, which gives us 700. Prepaid insurance, $2,400 for 3 years. We've only consumed 1 year, so this goes down by $800. 2,400 minus 800 leaves us $1,600 for the next 2 years. Other accounts, we don't need to go through all of these, but the other accounts remain the same because there is no adjustments. For the office equipment, we have accumulated depreciation of $3,760 from previous years. We now have more depreciation for the current period. Both of these are credits, so we add $3,760 and $1,448. We get $5,208 for accumulated depreciation for the office equipment. Similarly, we have accumulated depreciation on the vehicles of $15,760. This accounting period we have more depreciation added to the accumulated depreciation. We add $15,760 plus the new depreciation of $7,872. That gives us accumulated depreciation of $23,632. For the expenses, we simply, because they had no balance previously, we just transpose those from the debit column of the adjustments to the debit column of the trial balance. So we just simply transfer those pieces of information. So we have 1,300, 800, 1,448, and 7,872. We total the columns. For the adjusted trial balance, the answer is 198,320. We transfer the values to the income statement. We transfer the values that belong on the balance sheet. The totals for the income statement, we have a net income of $16,480. The totals at the bottom are $120,000. For the balance sheet, we transfer the net income, $16,480. We have a total of $94,800 in both of those columns. Let's go on to exercise 9. You're asked to prepare a 10-column worksheet for Timmins Travel for January using the trial balance on page 235 of the textbook and some information below. Timmins Travel prepares a worksheet each month, so we're doing a worksheet for 1 month. Supplies on hand at the end of January cost $600. The declining balance method of depreciation is used to record depreciation for office equipment at 20% per year and the automobile for 30%. Please remember, this worksheet is for the month of January, not the whole year. Previously, other students did it, and they did it for the whole year. There are some mistakes in the book that I have corrected here, so it might be a little bit difficult to read, but this is what the whole worksheet with 10 columns looks like. Let's break it down into each separate section. The trial balance totals are $190,300. Now we look at the adjustments. The supplies expense, $1,400, and we reduce the supplies account by the same amount. The depreciation on the equipment is $166.67, and the accumulated depreciation increases by $166.67. The depreciation on the automobile is $507.50, and that amount is added to the accumulated depreciation. The total for the adjustments is $2,074.17 for the debits and the credits. Now we add the totals from the trial balance and the adjustments to give us the adjusted trial balance. We add all these different amounts and we find out that we have a total at the bottom of $198,000, $198,390 for the debit and the credit for the adjusted trial balance. That's $198,390. The income statement shows that we have a net income of $40,310, and our total for each of these columns is $140,100. Over on the balance sheet side, we have the net income, $40,310. Totals here are $98,600, $98,600. Now that we've gone over all these answers, you'll find that the Unit 12 review sheet is available at the front on my filing cabinet, and be prepared for the Unit 12 test, which won't be on Thursday, it'll be on Friday.